ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
Welcome into today's edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. It's Thursday, January 11th. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Thanks for being a part of today's show. We're going to get your text in this hour. We'll do that 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Looking forward to hearing from you. Also, we're going to give you a chance to win 4-pack of tickets to Saturday's game. Thundering Herd in action, 4 o'clock tip, and I've been told it's close to a sellout. So if you're looking to go to the game and you haven't got your tickets just yet, and you're maybe on the fence, I'm going to give you an opportunity to win those tickets later on. And all you have to do is text in at 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255, and be a part of today's show. You can also be a part of the show by finding me on X. It's formerly known as Twitter, at Paul Swann. So we got a lot to get into today. I don't know where to start, really. We got women's basketball we got to talk about because the Thundering Herd got the win on the road earlier this afternoon. They were at Georgia State, got the win. It was a 90-78 victory. Marshall trailed after the first 20-18. They were down by 12. And so what did Marshall do? They came back and they started to play Kim Caldwell style of basketball. It wasn't their best effort. It was a good effort. We're going to hear from Coach in just a bit on the victory. And, of course, last night, if you were with us, you know that the men got the victory over Georgia Southern at the Cam Henderson Center, 79-74. We'll hear a little bit later on from Dan D'Antoni about the victory. Hard-fought game. I'll say this. I wasn't sure what kind of team we're going to see when Georgia Southern came into Huntington. I know that they had lost 12 straight. Then they started out 2-1 in Sun Belt play, so you're scratching your head. Did they figure it out? Did they turn it around? It's a well-coached team. I mean, there were a couple of times where I thought, all right, young coach, maybe if I was in that situation, maybe that's not the thing I would do. But at the same time, they gave Marshall everything Marshall could handle. The Thundering Herd win it at the free throw line. That was the big difference. All things being equal, Marshall shot 23 of 60 in that game for 38.3%. Georgia Southern shot 27 of 58 for 46.6%. Three-point line, they were a little bit better than the Herd percentage-wise, and they made a couple more. 37.9% from the three-point line. Georgia Southern was 11 of 29. For the Herd, 32.1%. They were 9 of 28. So Marshall got it done on the free throw line. 24 of 30, 80% in the game. And that was a big deal because Georgia Southern just couldn't get to the free throw line. They were 9 of 12 from the free throw line. So you've added all up. That's where Marshall really was able to take advantage of Georgia Southern. Obina Anachili-Killen, almost perfect from the free throw line. 11 of 12 there. You had 3 double-digit performances. Kevon Boyles had 20. Camden Kerfman had 19. And, of course, Obina Anachili-Killen, he had 19 as well. Add on to that 11 and 12 from the free throw line. He was only 4 of 9 from the field. But the Herd gets it done, moves to 4-0 in league play. Now, the women are also 4-0 in league play. It's only the second time that's ever happened at the same time. So basketball's looking pretty good right now as the Herd continues through the Sun Belt schedule. Hopefully, Dan was completely right that preseason, as some coaches are calling it now, or the non-conference portion of the schedule, that's to get you ready for conference, and the Herd's getting it done as a unit. I would like to see the offense spread out a little bit more. I'd like to see a little bit more from Jacob Connor, definitely Nate Martin. Nate had 8 points and 7 rebounds. Usually he's good for a double-double, or at least a close to a double-double. So I'd like to see a little bit more action from them. Wyatt Fricks, Ryan Nutter, they were out there for a few minutes. Kyson Pruitt even got a few minutes of playing time. And Marco was out there as well. He had like 12 minutes of play. But it really came down to Voiles, Connor, Kerfman, Anachili-Killen, and Martin. Those were your starting 5. Those were your big 5 out there. And those are the 5 that got the most playing time in this one. Bench points really not a factor in this one. Marshall only had 7. Now, Georgia Southern, They didn't have that much either from the bench. They had 15, a little bit more than the Herd, but really where Marshall was getting a little bit more from Voiles and Kerfman and Obina, those were your three big scorers. The big scorer for Georgia Southern was Tyron Moore. If you don't remember him, he was number 12. He was 11 of 16 from the field. He was 6 of 10 from the three-point line. He was near perfect as well from the free throw line, 6 of 8. Could have been a little bit better there. But he was out there 30 minutes. Georgia Southern definitely used more and spread it out. I mean, their top 5, their numbers are similar to the Herds, but they were using their bench a little bit more. That's not a bad team. The record doesn't say so, but that's not a bad team. And I think Marshall was fortunate to get the win. It was back and forth. It was fun. If you like college basketball, you like back and forth play. I mean, this was fun. It wasn't like a running game. Fast break points, only 5-2 in favor of Georgia Southern. So it wasn't as if they were running, but it was back and forth. There were 13 times that the game was tied, 12 lead changes. Georgia Southern led this game for 15 minutes and 9 seconds. Marshall led for 16 minutes and 7 seconds. It was tied for 8 minutes and 45 seconds. Not a real sense of who would win this game until late when the Thundering Herd started to pull away a little bit, and it still went down close to the end. You don't want to see that. If you're a Marshall fan, you want to see the team get put away and you can go home happy. You can leave sometime 3 or 4 or 5 minutes before the game's over and make your way out of the Henderson Center. But that was a game which you don't want to leave early. That can go either way. It can go back and forth. You could have had 2 or 3 more lead changes. That's the kind of basketball that makes it fun sometimes. Sure, you want to see a dominating performance, but you got the win. The Herd now 4-0 in league play. We'll hear from Dan D'Antoni in just a few minutes. We're also going to hear from you. Our text lines, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We got basketball to get into with the women as well. We'll do that. We'll talk about Kim Caldwell's squad in just a few minutes. We'll hear from her. Today's a crazy day. Yesterday and today's crazy day. We got Bill Belichick no longer the head coach of the New England Patriots. So that's going to be strange. And then you have yesterday Nick Saban retiring, no longer the head coach of Alabama. He's been there for a long time. I'm sure for a lot of you, you don't even remember the last time that Alabama had a coach that wasn't named Nick Saban. I don't remember a time. It's been a long time since I can remember a time where Bill Belichick wasn't going to be roaming the sidelines and Nick Saban wasn't going to be roaming the sidelines. Pete Carroll, throw him in. He's one of the, I don't want to say the greatest of all time. That's a term that gets thrown around. I mean, that's reserved for Nick Saban if we're going to use that, but he's he's definitely an upper echelon coach, won a Super Bowl, did some really nice things at USC as well. Heck of a coach. We're losing a few really good coaches, so I don't know what the dynamic's going to look like, but I hate to say it, it might be the time for a lot of these guys because the times are changing. I don't know if for the good or better or if it's not good. I don't know yet because you have the transfer portal, you have the way that NIL, you have the new playoff system. It's going to change. It's going to be a different dynamic now, and what might have worked before might not work now. We'll never know. Could Nick Saban have thrived in a 12-team playoff system? Probably. Would Bill Belichick have been able to bounce back after losing Tom Brady? Maybe, but the times are changing, and coaching is changing as well. You have to adapt. You have to be more of a general manager on the field type. Personnel decisions matter. You're going to have to manage all of that, and you're going to have to be someone who can handle the X's and O's, handle the management of the personnel a little bit better, and, of course, you got to win. I mean, look at the Bengals. 9-8 finishes last in the division. And then you've got a 9-8 team that wins its division. NFL's crazy, but it's going to be weird not to see Bill Belichick out there in a hoodie. He was always like the Dark Emperor. He was like Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars, with the hoodie. That's kind of how it was with him. And it was funny, too, because he just did not give a, you know what? He did not give a. And I hate to see him go. But at the same time, eventually it's time. I don't think these last few seasons are really going to diminish from what he was able to achieve. Look, the guy went to 9 Super Bowls, won 6. Nick Saban won 6 national championships. These are going to be some of the all-time greats of all time for a long time to come. It'll be very difficult to duplicate their successes in NFL or in college football. We'll hear from Dan D'Antoni when we continue. Also hear from Kim Caldwell. We'll get you caught up on what happened today with the women first, and then we'll run back a little bit more with the men's game. We'll get your text in, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Thanks for tuning in to today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Working Man Store in Huntington. Check out the biggest inventory of scrubs in West Virginia, featuring brands such as Healing Hands, Dickies, Cherokee, and Med Couture at the best price. Working Man Store has one of the largest selections of big and tall shirts, jackets, and jeans in the area. Working Man Store is the king of blue jeans with Levi's, Dickies, Carhartt, Lee, and Wranglers in sizes up to 72. And Working Man Store has the best selection of men's work boots and casual shoes anywhere at the best price. Working Man Store, open every day at 140 5th Avenue, Huntington.
Hey, Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. If you're a sports fan, we have what you need. From the NFL, NBA, NCAA basketball, to college football bowl games and the national championship. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials we have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check us out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Stalwart Insurance is the name for insurance in the Tri-State. They are committed to delivering tailored benefit solutions with thoughtful, strategic planning with valuable professional services. Stop by or call Stalwart Insurance for your homeowner's insurance needs. Stalwart Insurance is located right beside Kenny Queen Hardware on Route 10 in Barbersville. Call Stalwart Insurance anytime at 304-552-3883. That's 304-552-3883. Or visit them online at stalwartinsurance.com.
The more vulnerable among us can fall victim to abuse, neglect, and financial exploitation. When navigating your way out, it doesn't have to feel like a maze. Assistance is available from Adult Protective Services. To report neglect or abuse, call 800-352-6513. Sponsored by the Administration for Community Living, West Virginia Department of Health and Human Resources Bureau for Social Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station.
This project was supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $383,493, with 75% funded by ACL HHS and 25% in the amount of $85,236 funded by state government sources. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. In the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. The ugly truth is when you buy a timeshare, you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. I recently helped a couple that had their maintenance fees go from $800 to $3,200 a year. They also received a $4,000 assessment for a hurricane that was over 1,000 miles away. Sound crazy? The crazy thing is, this never ends. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. Call 800-414-7272. That's 800-414-7272. 800-414-7272.
Don't miss out on limited-time appliance deals during the closeout event at Lowe's. Get up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, save an extra $100 when you spend $999 or more on all major appliances. Hurry, these deals are too good to last long. Shop in-store or online today. Because Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid 1/4 through 1/24. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowes.com for details.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
We continue on with today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Our text line this hour is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Good win today for the women. The Thundering Herd 4-0, getting the victory over Georgia State 90-78. It was one of those educational day games, so you could hear the kids. They were screaming. I like those, actually. Little kids get into it. They scream really, really loud. They are absolutely into the game. And depending on if it's a home or away game, it's either really hard to overcome or it's really fun to be a part of. Either way, good game today. The Thundering Herd led by Aislinn Hayes, 20 points there. And then, of course, Abby Beeman, always consistent with 17 points. Brianna Campbell had 16. Meredith Mayer had 11. Good effort from the Thundering Herd with 90 points. They were 30 of 69, 10 of 29 from the three-point line. Free throws could have been a little bit better. They were 20 of 28 there. They had 18 offensive rebounds, 24 on the defensive glass for 42. So they out-rebounded Georgia State by 2 there. Assists 17, turnovers 11 compared to 15 for Georgia State. They also had 5 blocks, 8 steals. These are things that are becoming more and more of a hallmark of what Marshall women's basketball is looking like. Thundering Herd did give up 46 points in the paint. They scored 38 there. They did get 24 points off turnovers compared to 18 for Georgia State. Second chance points, 21-17 in favor of the women. Also, fast break points, 15-12 in favor of Georgia State. And finally, bench points because, well, as the commentators remarked, it was easy for me to keep up. I'm a hockey fan. I'm used to shift changes. 42 points from the bench, 34 for Georgia State. Thundering Herd with the victory. Marshall led for 29 minutes and 22 seconds. Georgia State led for 9 minutes and 36 seconds. The game was tied for a minute and 2 seconds. It was tied once. There were 2 lead changes. Pretty good crowd for a Thursday morning game at 11 a.m., 1,329 the attendance. They get a pretty neat arena there at the Convocation Center in Atlanta. That's kind of, I don't know if I would like that for Marshall, but it's really a neat little setup there. It looks like they've got more seating, the lower bowl seating, not that much compared to the upper levels. It kind of reminds me a little bit as far as maybe what the seating capacity is, kind of maybe more like the Coliseum in Morgantown, just a little bit, not the aesthetics or anything. It's just, there's definitely more seating in the second level than there is in the first, and it's not like an even split, but it's a neat little building. It's fairly new, and the crowd, I could hear them. They were loud. So good game for Kim Caldwell's squad. We had a chance to catch up with her earlier after the game, and she said it was a good game today. But the one thing I love about Coach, and I think a lot of people are really catching on to her, is she's going to tell you how it is. But for her, the Herd gets the victory. It was a good game.
Good road win, tough environment on Kids Day. Didn't think we played all 4 quarters great, but I think that we're getting a little more balanced and we're starting to figure some things out. And we had a lot of people right now that are not feeling well. I think we probably have 8 or 9 people who are sick and battling the flu. And so when you can come and get on the road and make up for some people who are sick and not feeling well and win at a super early game, I think that's a step in the right direction.
Now, I don't know how she feels about having 11 a.m. games all the time. I liked it. I don't know if that should be the norm, but I definitely liked having the 11 a.m. game, easy for me to say. I like the 11 a.m. game. So hopefully the Thundering Herd will be able to get back at it. And as you heard Coach mention, a little under the weather. So was she surprised about the slow start? Herd's down by 12. She gets off to a slow start with her team. I'm listening to the announcers. I even told her that, look, they were talking about how quick that Georgia State got off to their start and were commenting about how athletic that Georgia State was compared to the Herd. Of course, little did they truly understand the nature of Caldwell's system where they subbing them in and out. If you don't like this lineup, well, we got another one for you. Okay, well, let's get another lineup in. Okay, 2 minutes, and was she surprised by the slow start?
I'm never surprised when we get into an early lead or early hole at this point. It's actually usually weird if we get off to a good start. So we have a tendency to not show up ready. It was early. I could kind of tell all morning that we were a little sleepy and a little lax. And so, no, I was not surprised. I was beyond pleased that they woke up as quickly as they did, because I thought we'd spend 4 quarters digging ourselves out of that hole, and we did it in about 4 minutes.
So good start for the Thundering Herd after the team got over that lackadaisical start. So what did she say to the team? They were down by 12. What did you say to the team, Coach?
Wake up. Up. I told you this was going to happen. Our shot selection was terrible. Our defense was terrible. We weren't even hitting the rim. I mean, we were still asleep. And so I was prepared for that, but I think we had some really good leadership. And I think it was coming from some players other than just myself, and we responded.
And a little bit more from Coach about that defensive performance. They ended up winning the game, and there were some really nice bright spots in this game, but it wasn't necessarily the best defensive performance. I mean, it wasn't, at the end of the day, it wasn't a bad defensive performance. Early on, it looked terrible, but they did wake up, as Coach said. She talked a little bit more about that defensive performance.
Yeah, definitely not our best defensive effort, especially to start the game and to finish the game. We have to get better at starting and finishing games. I mean, we'll start slow and then we'll get a lead and we'll look at the lead. And I think we've talked about this before. And then we'll kind of take our foot off the gas. And when we take our foot off the gas, I mean, it's college basketball. We can't do that. And so we got to do a better job of finishing games too. And so it's really hard for us to press when we're not hitting shots. So that was really what our problem was early.
That's Kim Caldwell earlier today. The Thundering Herd on the road at the Convocation Center in Atlanta, taking on Georgia State. They got the win, 90-78, starting the season off 4-0. Last night, the men start the season off 4-0 in conference play as well, with a 79-74 victory over Georgia Southern. We'll hear from Dan D'Antoni when we continue. And our text line is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. We're going to give you a chance to win tickets to go to the game on Saturday. It's a 4-pack of tickets. I hear that the Saturday game is almost sold out. It's a 4 o'clock start now, so adjust your calendar where applicable, because I don't want you to show up late and miss all the action. So 4 o'clock on Saturday. If you haven't got your tickets yet, you want to go, text line's open. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. More coming up on this edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Get the tire that will see you through the cold and then some. The long-lasting all-season Michelin Cross Climate 2 tire, because winter doesn't last forever. Between 11:15 and 12:05, get $70 via reward card or virtual prepaid card after online submission with the purchase of 4 new Michelin passenger or light truck tires. $70 tire rebate on all tire lines, plus a $30 bonus rebate on Michelin winter tires only. See TikTok Tire, 3rd Avenue in Huntington, across from Jones C. Edwards Stadium. See www.michelinman.com/auto/deals-promotions-and-rebates for complete detail. Offer expires 12/5/23. Void where prohibited. Metro Community Federal Credit Union has been serving the Huntington community for 70 years and is proud to announce our newest location in Lavalette is now open. Wayne County residents, you now have access to a modern banking facility, a full range of services, advanced technology, expert financial advice, and even a smart coffee kiosk cafe. Learn more about Metro Community Federal Credit Union online at metrocommunityfcu.com or visit us today on 5th Street Road. Equal housing lender, member NCUA.
Glockner's Too Easy initiative has returned for 2024. We're making it too easy to get more for your trade with our biggest cash offers. We pay more. Too easy to save time, because Glockner has the fastest, most transparent 5-star shopping experience around. Too easy to find the vehicle perfect for you, as Glockner has the area's biggest pre-owned inventory. That's why it's too easy to buy a car at Glockner.
We make it easy at Glockner.com.
Stalwart Insurance is the name for insurance in the tri-state. They are committed to delivering tailored benefit solutions with thoughtful, strategic planning with valuable professional services. Stop by or call Stalwart Insurance for your homeowner's insurance needs. Stalwart Insurance is located right beside Kenny Queen Hardware on Route 10 in Barbersville. Call Stalwart Insurance anytime at 304-552-3883. That's 304-552-3883. Or visit them online at stalwartinsurance.com.
Hey, honey, how was your trip to Menards?
Awesome. The Menards bag sale is back.
Oh, what's the bag sale?
You grab a bag in store and save 15% on everything you can fit in the bag. I got a new cordless drill, LED bulbs to help with the electric bill, stocked up on toothpaste, always need batteries, and paint for the mudroom, plus all my favorite snacks. Where are you going?
Menards, we're out of cleaning supplies.
Hurry in. Grab a bag in store now through January 14th. Get 15% off everything you can fit in the bag. See store for complete details.
Our Kindred Communications family of stations reminds you of the need for blood donations to the Red Cross. Blood is always needed. It may save your life or the life of a loved one. This reminder is brought to you in part by
Swisher & Losi Pharmacy, independently owned with free local delivery and drive-through service. 636 East Main Street, Pomeroy, Ohio. Area Agency on Aging, Southern Ohio's designated aging and disability resource network. Dutch Miller Kia, Route 60 in Barbersville, the home of friends and family pricing for everyone.
Giovanni's has great Italian dishes. Spaghetti with meat sauce, lasagna, ravioli, manicotti, and baked lasagna. Giovanni's has the best sandwiches around, from the stromboli, Italian sub, calzones, and their signature Big Red. All dinners will be served with hot garlic bread or Italian rolls. Giovanni's Pizza, fresh, hot, and tasty. Have it delivered right to your door. Giovanni's, the Italian place to be. This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
We continue on with today's edition of The Drive right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. My name is Paul Swann. Thanks for being a part of today's show. Our text line this hour is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. It's also the number you need to be a part of if you want to win 4 tickets to go see the Herd on Saturday. 4 o'clock tip, we'll have the game here, right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. But that's not correct. I gotta remind you, gotta remind myself, the game is gonna be on 93.7 The Dog. I'm so used to it being on both. We got football action coming up this weekend. That's a good reminder. We got football action coming up this weekend. We'll have all of the super wild card games. We'll have all the games on Saturday and Sunday right here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. Marshall game going to be on 93.7 The Dog. So if you want to go to the game, take your radio with you or pull it up on the app. You can listen to football while you're at the Henderson Center. And after the game, you can listen to me on your way home on 93.7 The Dog, or you can tune in over here to ESPN 94.1 and AM 930 for whatever else is happening in the NFL. As I said, we're going to have it all the way to the Super Bowl. We'll have you covered, so you're not going to miss a thing. If you can't be home to watch it, you can listen to it. And we've got all the games for now until the end of the playoffs, right up to and including the Super Bowl. Texter says, go Herd. Both men's and women's teams playing good right now. That's a good way to describe it. For the second time in history, this is an interesting stat. Marshall did the fact-checking today for me. Okay, I retweeted someone the other day, and then now they put out a great graphic. For the second time in history, both Marshall's women's and men's basketball teams starting off conference play with 4 wins. The last time the Herd did that, do you know? Well, if you haven't seen the graphic, you don't. 1986-87 season, both teams won the regular season conference championship in the Southern Conference that year. So could we be seeing back-to-back championships? I mean championship for the women, championship for the men. Win it in back-to-back succession. Can we see that? It's a little too early. It's fun to talk about, but it's a little too early. I don't want to put that pressure on anyone just yet. So the Thundering Herd with the win, the men beating Georgia Southern 79-74 last night at the Henderson Center. I like the Wednesday game. I'm not going to lie to you. Tonight would normally be a Marshall basketball night, but I like the Wednesday game. Hopefully we can see more Wednesday games. I know I used to be opposed to them years and years ago, but there's so much going on now. I think any day would be fine. And I think Wednesday's good as ever for a basketball game. And Cam Kerfman, when talking to him last night, He had 19 points, 5 of 15 from the field, 5 of 15 from the three-point line. So you know where all those shots came. And he was perfect from the free throw line, hit all 4 of his shots. He talked about how tough that team was. If you look at their record, you're not going to think that they're a tough team. If you just watch them on film, you watch them play, or you play them, you know that it's a lot better team. It's a tougher team than maybe you thought coming into the contest last night.
They were spreading us out. They're a good team. They got good shooters, and 2 guards that start that are really good one-on-one. They can make step-back threes or 3-level scorers, and they got 2 off the bench to do the exact same thing. So they're steady, fresh bodies, coming at you with the dribble, and it's really hard. We switch everything, so we know that's the weakness of our defense. And I think it was just a pivotal moment because the big stayed in front of the guards. They kick it back out. There's 10 seconds, I think. Ball gets knocked loose. They're going out the three-point line. They're about to shoot a fadeaway 3. We thought we got the stop, and I thought we knew we were going to score when we got the ball back. We knew the plays that worked. And we've always went down the stretch and at home and came out with a win. So I think that was a pivotal stop. I think his bucket was the biggest bucket of the game, and that stop was the biggest stop of the game.
He's talking about Kevon Voiles, who was with him in the postgame yesterday. Now, Dan D'Antoni, after the game, he talked about how this was a high-level ball game between these two schools.
That was a high-level ball game. You saw some shots that were made by them, especially the NBA arena. Go watch Golden State. They put them up there and make them, and they're young and they play hard. It's a good team, and our crowd is a real help for us. But we also our crowd gives the team that we're playing probably their best game because they're used to coming in here, maybe 600 people in the fans and stands, and it's quiet. And now all of a sudden it's the NBA Finals, so you're getting their best shot too. So I was proud of our young men. Stayed in behind most of the way, and got around the 6-minute mark, started getting a little separation, not much, and we made a couple key mistakes. We got to try to make sure we correct on that. But overall, I hope our fans enjoyed the game. Win or lose, you come, you enjoy it. That's a great atmosphere. And I'm 76, and it's fun. I hope I saw one guy my age over there. He was jumping up and down. I said, man, still got life in us, don't we? So I was happy to see the band was great. I thought the music on the outside was outstanding to create an atmosphere. We really do a great job when we apply ourselves into putting on a good show. And our fans, be Marshall fans, come win, lose, or draw, you're here. And it's a fun venue. Why not?
Dan D'Antoni always positive about the fans. 4,262 the attendance for last night's game. And, of course, on Saturday, it's expected to be a sellout for a Saturday contest. Don't forget, we've got tickets we're going to give you this hour. All you have to do is be a part of the show on our text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Think of it as like a texter of the day. If your text is good enough, you can win tickets if you're the texter of the day. So keep that in mind. Anytime we do giveaways like this, you have an opportunity, if you're the texter of the day, to win those tickets. So I've got a 4-pack for Saturday's game. It's a 4 o'clock tip, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255 if you want to win those tickets. Dan continued to talk about the game last night. Talked about the toughness that his team showed. Thundering Herd, down by 2 at half, comes back and outscores Georgia Southern last night in that second half, 45-38, to get the 79-74 victory. It was a fun game to watch. I will give them that. But that was a tough team that came into the Henderson Center. They've never beaten Marshall in Huntington, and that streak continues, but it came close last night. And I think Marshall knows it was in a fight. Dan D'Antoni, however, feels like his team is starting to get that toughness about them where they can be in fights like this and still be able to win down the stretch.
What I saw, though, was just a little more toughness in our kids. We had 2 or 3 stops right at the end that we really applied. One went the full gamut of the shot clock, and we just applied a little bit more energy in our defense. And I thought we did a good job because they're athletic and long. They go back to board hard. It's physical in there. Thought OB and Nate, and I'm not sure exactly how many rebounds they got. What Nate had, 7 rebounds. 7, and Obina had 5, and it seemed like he had a lot more. Must have been our guard, Connor had 8. You know, it's just, and that's an advantage too of a point guard 6'10". You know, he's normally rebounding over smaller guys. He's in there, so you know, again, I don't want to put too much in. It was a good win because they played extremely well, but we got to keep getting better at this game, and got a tough one coming up on Saturday, and I hope we fill this place.
Opportunity to help Dan fill the arena on Saturday. You can win those tickets. 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Final segment coming up. We'll get your text in. We'll talk a little bit more about these games. How about the Herd? Both men and women, 4-0 in conference play. Let's hope that streak continues for both teams. More coming up. It's The Drive, ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
Hey, Tri-State, Frank's Place is where friends hang out with friends. Stop on by for happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. and a lot of daily specials. If you're a sports fan, we have what you need. From the NFL, NBA, NCAA basketball, to college football bowl games and the national championship. First responders, stop by Frank's Place and check out the specials we have for you. Frank's Place, located at the River Place Plaza, next to Fratelli's. Check us out on Facebook for weekly updates and specials. Frank's Place, your home away from home.
Now is the time to add on a new bathroom or remodel your old one with the latest up-to-date bathroom fixtures from Mutual Wholesalers, 710 5th Street, Huntington. Come in today to Mutual Wholesalers' beautiful showroom and see how your new bathroom will look. Check out Acre by Max. Have a new bathroom this year. Mutual Wholesalers, locally owned and operated, 710 5th Street, Huntington. Call 304-525-9118.
Stuck in a state of falling behind, struggling to keep up with kids, finances, insurance, and life? Well, let your State Farm agent help you simplify and get to a better state. With State Farm handling your auto, home, and life insurance, you'll have more time to handle everything else. More money, too. Adding State Farm policies can earn discounts that could add up to 40% and help you get ahead. Call an agent today and get to a better state with State Farm. In Huntington, John Garton, 304-525-1116. In Barbersville, Marcia Slater, 304-736-6100. And in Cerrito, Aaron Billups, 304-453-4600.
In the tapestry of life, we encounter stories of legacy and accomplishment, but sometimes also abuse, neglect, or financial exploitation. Adult Protective Services understands the importance of safeguarding the well-being of our loved ones, our neighbors, and our community. To report neglect or abuse, call 800-352-6513. Sponsored by the Administration for Community Living, West Virginia Department of Health and Human Resources, Bureau for Social Services, the West Virginia Broadcasters Association, and this station. This project was supported by the Administration for Community Living, ACL, and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, as part of a financial assistance award totaling $383,493, with 75% funded by ACL, HHS, and 25% in the amount of $85,236 funded by state government sources. The contents are those of the authors and do not necessarily represent the official views of, nor an endorsement by, ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
Don't miss out on limited time appliance deals during the closeout event at Lowe's. Get up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, save an extra $100 when you spend $999 or more on all major appliances. Hurry, these deals are too good to last long. Shop in-store or online today. Because Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid 1/4 through 1/24. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for details.
You're all set with your Medicare prescriptions, Mrs. Brown.
This is not just low-cost copays at Walgreens.
I can actually help you set up 90-day refills if you want.
This is having a partner you can trust. Get low-cost copays, 90-day refills, and delivery from your neighborhood Walgreens. This is being independent. Together. Walgreens.
Restrictions apply. For details, see walgreens.com/pharmacy.
Okay, gang. So, chances are there'll never be an emergency ever again. But, just in case, let's talk about a plan.
Okay.
So, who's gonna do what? Anyone? Yeah, okay, perfect. We'll figure it out as we go. So, who is going to grab the go bag?
What's a go bag? It is a bag we do not have that is filled with things we really need in an emergency.
Guess we won't have to worry about it then.
Good point. So we all know who to call if something happens then, right?
I'd have to call Jill, Devin, Melissa, Karen, and
Bruce. And I will try to call all of you, but Greg doesn't have a cell phone. Dad's phone will have a dead battery.
No doubt.
And Julie will be on the phone with Jill, Devin, Melissa, Karen, and Bruce.
Well, this is great. I am so glad that we don't have a plan.
I know.
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency, who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information. A public service announcement brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
The rest of the show is yours. Text line is now wide open. It's 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. I'm going to put the show in your hands. However it turns out, it's going to be on you. So you get those texts in now. And don't forget, we're going to give you an opportunity to win tickets to go see the Herd in action on Saturday. The men will be in action at 4 o'clock. Thundering Herd moving the game time from 7 to 4 o'clock. So make note of the change. If you haven't noticed that just yet, you need to make sure that you know. Marshall's going to be playing, and it's going to be, from this point forward, it's going to be 4 o'clock games on Saturday. We'll see what the crowd looks like. I'm being told it's close to a sellout. Thundering Herd 4-0, and if Marshall can go 5-0 in league play, I think we're going to see even bigger crowds. Thundering Herd up next against South Alabama. That's the game. The women are still on the road, but both teams 4-0 to start conference play. I think we're going to see some bigger crowds for the Thundering Herd if they can get to 5-0. And they're already over 500, 9-8 now, over 500, plus a 4-game win streak. It could have been more. To be honest with you, this win streak probably should have been longer. I mean, you'll take what you get right now. You'll take it. But I think Marshall should have beaten UNCW. I say that, shoulda. That was a winnable game for the Herd. And honestly, I think that Toledo game was winnable as well. I think you got to go back to the Ohio game. The Ohio game, I think, is the catalyst for all of this. Marshall lost to Duquesne, lost to Miami, got drilled by a really good Kentucky team, lost a couple of games in the Cayman Islands, so wasn't sure what this team looked like, and then stepped up against Ohio. I thought had a solid chance, should have won against Toledo, and then, honestly, it still doesn't matter. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, but they get into league play, beat Louisiana, which I thought was a good team coming in, and then reel off 4 straight in league play. Looks good. And the rest of the schedule, South Alabama, Old Dominion, they might be undefeated in league play when they get to Harrisonburg, Virginia to take on JMU. I mean, that's a real possibility, to be honest with you. That's seriously what we might be looking at. And speaking of JMU, first of all, their basketball game on January 27th, that's been moved up to ESPN2, ESPNU. So the league has got this TV deal where you can have a wild card. There's not a locked schedule. Basically, the league is waiting to see, okay, what matchups look really good. And so you look at how well Appalachian State's doing. You look at, well, James Madison's doing. And you circle that one and go, okay, that one might be a good matchup. So that's going to be the first wild card appearance for Sunbelt teams. We'll see if the Thundering Herd can maybe score one of those wild card appearances on ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU. But the James Madison game, and of course James Madison is still receiving votes in the top 25 in the coaches poll and the other polls. They're getting a lot of love. So there's an opportunity. Back to the text line, 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. Texter says, got a chance to watch the women today. Kim C's crew is going to be a problem for any mid-major the Herd faces. Wish you could take calls again. I would love to take calls. The problem is it's just technically hard right now because it's just me. I roll solo on the show. So it's not that we don't want to. It's just, we got to get some more people in here sometimes that can help out. And some days we can do that. Some days we can't. But it's difficult for me to do the show and then take calls blindly. So I do hope we can do that, take calls again, and we'll try to get that happening in the future. Back to the text line. Go Herd. Simple, sweet, effective. Go Herd. Some good news coming out of the Sun Belt today from Marshall. I don't want to forget that. The Thundering Herd getting a nod for a swimmer of the week in the conference. Molly Warner named the Sun Belt Conference Swimmer of the Week. It's her first weekly award and the team's fourth. So the swim and dive program at Marshall University is doing well right now. She won her third event of the weekend. She did well Ohio Friday evening, Bowling Green Saturday morning, where she won 2 individual events Friday evening. And she had a second place finish in the 400 freestyle relay. And then Saturday, as I mentioned, she had her third win of the weekend. She placed third in the 100 and 200 butterfly. And Marshall in the 200 freestyle relay had a third place finish to complete the session. So she did some work, and she gets the honor of being the Sun Belt Swimmer of the Week. So congratulations to her for her efforts. Back to our text line. Nice hustle last night. Made the shots when they needed to. Go Herd. I agree with that. Looking at the hustle stats in this one, Marshall only got outscored in the paint by 2. Turnovers, Marshall had 9 turnovers. Georgia Southern 12. Marshall had 11 points off turnovers. Blocks, Marshall had 2, had 6 steals. Free throw line. And that was the thing. Georgia Southern, they could not find a way to the free throw line, and they were trying to stop Marshall. Marshall would get out on them, and then they would try to stop them. And they sent Marshall to the line, and it was 24-30 there. So that made up for a few things. That was a good team last night. But I think, as Dan said it, down the stretch, they showed some toughness. Texture says Georgia Southern was much better than 2 and whatever. They could shoot. Yeah, that's their record right now, 2 and whatever. I like it. They were 46.6% from the field, 27 to 58. First half, they shot 44%. They got better in the second half, shot 48%. 11 of 29 from the three-point line. 7 of 16 that first half, 4 of 13 the second half. They hit a few more of those. But they ended up shooting 37.9% from the three-point line. Made what little free throws they had, 75% there. Tyron Moore, that kid can play anywhere. 11 of 16, 6 of 10 from the three-point line. That kid can play anywhere in the country. He looked really good. I'd love to see him play for Marshall. And that's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to pick one of you now to win our tickets. Marshall's in action on Saturday, 4 o'clock, going to take on South Alabama. We're going to give you a 4-pack of tickets. We do that every week. We have a home game to go to. So next time that we have tickets, that'll be the next series of home games. That'll pick back up after the road trip. That'll pick up with Georgia State on the 24th. All right, thanks for tuning in. Back with you tomorrow here at ESPN 94.1.
Retransmitting on Glorious FM on 94.1 W227BS Huntington. This is 930 WRVC Huntington, celebrating 100 years of broadcasting.